Kia ora, good morning. Welcome to Herald Now with me, Ryan Bridge. Great to have your company. It is Friday, the 28th of November. Let's crack into it this morning. We're getting a public inquiry into the Tom Phillips case, but it'll be held behind closed doors. So, what are we going to learn? What do we hope to achieve? The Attorney General Judith Collins is live in 5 minutes. Auditory Mount Cook has claimed 2 more lives. Mountaineering legend and adventurer Peter Hillary is with us after 8 o'clock to talk about the unique dangers of our highest peak. And groundbreaking or rigged, the education results that seem too good to be true. Education Minister Erica Stanford goes head-to-head with her Labour opponent, Willow Jean Prime, live at the desk this morning. Plus, the fire in Hong Kong is still burning. We've got an update there and one from Washington, D.C. on the National Guards. First, here's the latest headlines with Neva.
Herald Now News, powered by Newstalk ZB.
A push to get more bike lanes as the government eyes up moving e-scooters onto them from pathways. ACC statistics show there were more than 2,100 claims for e-scooter related injuries in the first half of this year. Payouts for e-scooter injuries this year are close to surpassing 14 million. Cycling Action spokesperson Patrick Morgan told Ryan Bridge, e-scooters are here to stay, so councils need to build more bike lanes to meet demand. He says we don't need a bike lane on every street, just on main thoroughfares where people want to go. Questions remain over the cause of the deadly Hong Kong fire, which has killed at least 83 people. Another 250 remain missing after the blaze ripped through 7 of 8 tower blocks. Bamboo scaffolding and safety netting were encasing the buildings, which were undergoing renovation. The exact cause of the inferno has yet to be determined. 3 construction company executives have been arrested on suspicion of manslaughter. More than $1.2 million was spent on the government's curriculum roadshows, which many principals refused to attend. Education Minister Erica Stanford and international speakers led the 4 events, with $220,000 spent just on their fees, travel and accommodation. They aim to guide school leaders through major changes. The Reserve Bank is projecting house prices will start steadily recovering next year. However, it doesn't see prices returning to their 2021 peak anytime soon. Its forward projections have the Totality House Price Index increasing consistently from next year, but prices are only expected to be in line with incomes. By late 2028, house prices are still projected to be about 3% below the record high reached in late 2021. It's tools down again for more than 17,000 public health workers. Allied health staff, nurses, policy and advisory workers are just some of the Public Service Association members striking today for 4 hours from 1 p.m. Health NZ says plans are in place to ensure hospital and community health service delivery. And firefighters are striking again today for better work conditions and more resources to serve communities. Some 2,000 New Zealand Professional Firefighters Union members are walking off the job from midday to 1 p.m. Hope's families of the Mount Erebus disaster will find peace in a new memorial in Christchurch. The National Memorial will be built at Craycroft Reserve in Kashmir, overlooking the city and Southern Alps. It will honour the 257 people who died when an Air New Zealand flight crashed into Antarctica's Mount Erebus 46 years ago today.
Herald Now Sport, brought to you by Gold Sport.
Golfer Ryan Fox has a share of the clubhouse lead after carding a 4-under par 67 across an incomplete opening round at the Australian PGA Championship in Brisbane. Expect a larger-scale Commonwealth Games if New Zealand hosts the 2034 edition. An expression of interest has been made to bring the event back for the first time since 1990. The International Judo Federation has reinstated full national representation rights to Russian athletes at competitions despite the war in Ukraine.
The RBNZ update this week again made the point that yes, the bounce back is happening. We're in bounce back mode. We'll grow 2.5% next year, they reckon. But this country needs more than that. We deserve more than that, don't you reckon? The problem for us is, and has been for about the past 30 years, productivity. How much we get out for what we put in. We went sideways for years, now it's basically falling. And as you know, this is quite a bad thing. It's taking us more people, more resources to make less stuff. It puts a ceiling on our success. It's a wealth killer. Some reckon it's the canary in the coal mine, the thing we should care about the most, because we're basically sleepwalking into third world status, like falling asleep on a plane and waking up in a different country. We will one day wake up outside the OECD. I know. The solution in part to this, and we spoke about this yesterday on the show with the Reserve Bank, the solution in part is AI. The World Economic Forum had some numbers on this which are interesting, showing you can boost labour productivity in developed countries by up to 40% over 15 years. Just imagine what that could do for a country like New Zealand. And the richer your country, the more you gain, which stands to reason because higher labour costs incentivise you to switch to AI to save on wage bills. The economic upswing that we're seeing right now is a business cycle uplift. They come and they go. But if you're talking about making this country a serious economic contender on the world stage, as we once were, you need a plan. You need a strategy. You need electricity and lots of it for AI. You need to get rid of a bunch of regulations. Do we have these things? Are we doing these things? I don't think so, but we need to. And I'm hoping next year at the election, more than a tax cut here or a Medicard there, somebody from some party, I don't even care which one, paints us a credible path towards prosperity and wealth once again. Lord knows we need it.
Herald Now weather, brought to you by You Do It Kitchens.
Good morning. Last Friday of spring. Summer kicks off on Monday, but still feeling very summery today with more warm weather on the way and a little bit of rain thanks to a front moving onto the North Island. So just a couple of heavy rain watches remain in place this morning, but these will all expire by midday. There will still be showers for the South Island, but they are clearing. Westerlies developed this morning for Dunedin. That turns northeast by around lunchtime. Now this is looking good for the upper half of the South Island, with cloud clearing this morning and becoming fine. Winds will mostly be from the west or northwest, but turning more easterly later in the day. Not so dry here, with rain this morning, possible thunderstorms and downpours for Taranaki, Kapiti and Wellington, but clearing to be fine early this afternoon. Now that heat alert is still in place for Napier, very hot today. There will be rain spreading for everyone, heavy at times during the afternoon, maybe thundery for Hawke's Bay and Gisborne. And showers for the upper north too, especially this afternoon when the showers may be heavy and maybe thundery. Winds end up from the west or northwest.
An inquiry will investigate whether government agencies did everything that they could to protect the children of Tom Phillips that he took on the run for 4 years. Phillips vanished from Marakopa in December 2021 with his 3 young children, and after years as a fugitive, Phillips died in a shootout with police on September the 8th. Joining me now is the Attorney-General Judith Collins. Minister, good morning.
Oh, good morning, Ryan.
Clearly this is needed. Did police have an opinion on whether it should happen or not?
Well, I didn't ask police's opinion. The government's view is that the agencies that are involved or were involved should be asked to find out exactly what they did, and that there will be lessons there about what was done, but also what could have been done. So I think too the big thing of this is not only those lessons that need to be learnt, and understand that there would have been individuals and people in those agencies involved who really tried their very best. But that needs to come out too, because this is actually about these kids. The Phillips children deserve to know who did what to try and save them, because actually they were almost 4 years in the bush with their father, and what they would have gone through would have been a very awful sort of hell, frankly.
Okay, so everything needs to be done to give the children answers. Will that include looking at whether police were given the resources, the budgets that they needed to properly search?
I expect that all of those issues will be raised, and what I would say, and it's not only about police, it's about other government agencies. I think we need to have everybody just come forward. They'll be asked to give submissions. I see the police in the usual way have come forward straight away and said that they welcome the opportunity to talk to the inquiry. What we need to do is to find out what happened, how this happened, how these kids ended up in this situation, and how they were there for almost 4 years.
But we sort of know. I mean, he took them and they went bush. The question is, why couldn't we find them, including, were police given the resources that they needed to do so? Have they ever told you that they weren't?
No, they have not. But look, I'm not their minister, and I certainly know that they would have been wanting to get these kids. Let's find out what did happen. Were there any issues around resourcing? Were there any issues around decisions made? And also, how did they, end up there? When you say, well, he took them, yes, but there were other interventions, obviously, with other agencies as well. So we just need to make sure that we get to the bottom of it. I've asked that this be a very short inquiry in terms of coming back this year, July this year. The reason is because these kids need to know what's happened. Also, this is not a review of the entire family court system or anything like that. And it is actually looking at what's best for these children in terms of them knowing that somebody was trying.
Minister, the Oranga Tamariki thing will come up, no doubt. And you've been around a long time in politics. I've been around
Not that long. Quite a long time, yes, sorry.
But compared to me, you've been around a long time. So you have seen this happen before, where we have these reports in Oranga Tamariki, and then we fight over, should we uplift kids, should we not uplift kids? We've had this debate 1,000 times, and do you know what? Nothing really seems to change.
Well, can I tell you, Ryan, that obviously we'll let the inquirer get on with his job. I'm not going to interfere in that. But I think about those poor, those social workers at Oranga Tamariki. Whatever they do, someone's going to have a go at them.
Yes,
right. So
100%.
You saw what I saw as, frankly, almost hysteria around kids being uplifted from homes that they shouldn't have been with, essentially because of what's happened. You always find someone ready to say, this is what's, that I've been treated badly because my children have been uplifted. We tell you, kids are not uplifted for the fun of it. And it is really important that we back those decisions. In this particular case, we've had 4 years of not being able to find these kids, 4 years of, and before that, of course, for these kids, it's almost their entire lifetime. We do need to know what's happened, and was there a resourcing issue? Did people make decisions based on fear of, media or politicians or something else? We don't know. And we're only speculating, so let's find out. And let's actually let these kids know that somebody is doing something and that some people were trying for them, so that when they're a bit older and they can look at this, they'll know that they were not just left in the bush with their father.
Attorney General Judith Collins, appreciate your time this morning. Thanks for being with me. Just gone 12 minutes after 7. To the US now, the FBI has released photos of the 2 National Guardsmen critically injured in yesterday's ambush shooting in Washington, D.C. They are Specialist Sarah Beckstrom, who's 20 years old, and Staff Sergeant Andrew Wolf, who was 24. The suspect has been identified as an Afghan national. And I can tell you about him some interesting facts, because last night it was revealed while we were sleeping that the guy that they have accused of shooting these 2 National Guardsmen worked with CIA-backed military units, worked with the US government in Afghanistan, in Kandahar, and came to the US in September of 2021. Now, President Trump is calling this a terrorist attack. The FBI boss, Kash Patel, says that the accused picked the wrong country.
This is a coast-to-coast investigation being led right here in Washington, D.C. And this subject definitely did pick the wrong country.
Somebody drove across the country, came to Washington, D.C. to attack America. And that person will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. These young people should be at home in West Virginia with their families.
Right, to Hong Kong now. The death toll from the worst fire in decades has risen to at least 83. Flames are still visible more than 24 hours after the fire broke out. Authorities have begun investigating what sparked the worst fire in almost 80 years, and they're looking at the bamboo scaffolding and the plastic mesh that was wrapped around the towers. Hong Kong's anti-corruption police have launched an investigation. 3 men have been arrested on suspicion of negligence and also for leaving foam packaging at the fire site. Hong Kong's Chief Executive John Lee says the fire is now largely under control and crews are looking for dozens of people still missing.
有關受影響居民嘅應急住宿安排，到目前為止，我哋已經係開放咗9個庇護中心，目前有超過500名居民係使用緊。
Time now is 7:15. The other thing about the fire that's interesting, so there's 2 directors and 1 engineering consultant that were arrested. And I mean, they don't muck around, do they? They were arrested within hours of this thing going up into flames. They're from a maintenance firm that was responsible for the buildings. So it wasn't just the bamboo scaffolding that went around that we showed you the pictures of yesterday falling off during the fire. Apparently, also used in the construction was styrofoam to seal windows in the buildings, and that they reckon is part of the reason that it went up so quickly. Of course, that's something they'll look into a bit further. The other problem from local residents who fled the fire and managed to get out, they were telling media at the scene that they could see the construction workers looking out their windows, the construction workers smoking cigarettes. 7:15, and it is time for our politics panel. Joining us back in the Auckland studio this week, National's Erica Stanford and Labour's Willow Jean Prime. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good to see you both. Now we've got some numbers on education this week, which are proving quite a little bit controversial. Because are they groundbreaking, as the government claims, or are they kind of rigged, as some unions are claiming? Willow Jean, I want to know from you first what your take is on this, because on the face of it, they look incredibly promising, these numbers.
So I first want to acknowledge that any improvement in our results is a good thing and that should be celebrated and welcomed. But I have seen criticism and concern and questions actually about the information that has been presented. What I've seen maths experts, I have also seen the New Zealand Principals Federation asking for a please explain, and I think it's really important that parents have the correct information about exactly what has happened here and what those results are, and I think that the Minister should respond to that.
All right, well, let's tell people what the results are first, because I haven't done that yet. So let's take a look. This is the Maths Acceleration Trial for Years 7 and 8 students. They managed to leap, in terms of progress, 1 to 2 years ahead of where they were after 12 weeks of the acceleration trial. There was also another group of students, not in the acceleration trial, who leapt a year ahead in 12 weeks by focusing on an hour of maths a day and by using new materials and instruction. Minister, is this groundbreaking or is this rigged?
Well, if it was rigged, I'm an extraordinarily good politician, my friend. We had independent psychometricians and experts design this trial. And what we knew was, if you miss the really core basic foundations of maths, which are things like place value, rational number, your word problems, things like fractions and your times tables, if you miss those really crucial things, you can't go on to do higher order things like algebra and measurement and geometry and all that. So you've got to get those right. These children were more than a year behind the curriculum, so really far behind where they needed to be. And we analysed all the data, so our PAT tests, our ASTL data, we talked to New Zealand AIMS, which is the Association of Middle Schools, and we knew that the really core part they were falling behind in were those things. So we focused on those 4 core aspects, which are the core building blocks of maths, intensely over 12 weeks. Now, the in-person group we knew would create really good results, because when you've got a teacher and a small number of students doing 4 times a week, 30-minute sessions outside of regular maths, we would expect big gains, and we did. We saw it, but not as much as we saw. I mean, it was 2 years worth.
Which is the part I think people go, well, that sounds too good to be true.
Do you know what? No, let me explain, because you wanted me to. So let me explain the data, right?
Yes.
So we took out, because I can see what some of the commentators have been complaining about, but actually they've not listened to what the Ministry have said. We took out assessment questions out of ASTL that we knew were aligned to the curriculum, the new curriculum.
So you got some questions.
So we used those, exactly the right ones to match the curriculum. We tested them at the beginning, we tested them at the end, then we tested them again after 12 weeks to make sure those results
So this is the point. So the Principals Federation says you ask the kids the question at the start of the 12 weeks, then you ask them the exact same questions at the end of the 12 weeks, and how do you know they've actually learnt how to do the equation, 1 + 1 = 2, whatever, and they're not just repeating back to you the thing that they...
The thing that they remember from an assessment 12 weeks ago. You reckon 10-year-olds are going to remember quite a big test that they did 12 weeks ago?
I don't. I believe you. I believe what the ministry has said, because, as you say, then 12 weeks late after that, they asked them again.
That's why psychometricians designed this, to be exactly right in terms of what we do when we assess kids.
Do you accept that? Do you think that what the minister is saying is legitimate, that these are valid results now?
No, I think I still share the concerns that I have seen from maths professors, also from the New Zealand Principals Federation. What they have pointed out is that what we have here is potentially a case of teaching to the test, and so therefore, of course, you are going to get better results from that. What's important to also highlight, as the Minister has kind of vaguely explained here and maybe left out, is that this is one of 6 areas of maths that is taught in the curriculum that has been focused on and tested. So to claim 1 to 2 years for students for maths is, I think, a bit misleading, because it's for one area.
Are you claiming that?
We said very clearly in all of our communications that these were the areas that we assessed.
Well, I think parents need to understand that.
Yeah,
it's
no,
one
to be
area.
fair, they did say that.
Yeah, we did say
but to
that.
your point, Will and Jean, do you think that that a kid who learned something 12 weeks ago will then remember the answer 12 weeks later?
Well, this is the concerns that we're hearing from the sector.
But what do you think?
This is the sector are the experts, the teachers are the experts, and the concerns that the teachers have is that we end up in a situation where we are teaching to the test to produce results to show something.
The Principals Federation. I just want to say the Principals Federation.
Also the experts.
The Principals Federation has said that while they did not deny the maths intervention would have a positive impact, they questioned the evidence provided and whether the program was the best use of the education budget. To me, that's outrageous, because what else should we be using an education budget for than to be making kids smarter at maths?
Well, I think to add to that, so what we have here is a result that has been shared with everybody when the final evaluation has not been completed, when we haven't had any independent assessment of that final evaluation. So to be able to determine whether this is the best spend of $40 million, which, by the way, is not actually getting to all of the students who need it. I asked the Minister to use her maths and tell us, on those children who had those failing results before, what would the true cost be to provide this to those students so they can see those results.
Oh my Lord,
it's
so
far more than $40 million.
A lot going on there that's not true. We didn't spend $40 million on the trial.
That's what you've budgeted for. No, going forward, it's $40 million to expand this program.
We'll let the Minister address this.
Let's take there's a whole range of things going on here. Firstly, the New Zealand Principals Federation, they wrote a letter in 2021 complaining, when their president was Perry Rush, complaining about the dire state of mathematics, how terribly awful it was. They wrote an open letter. Now, nothing came of that. Previous government didn't do anything. No new curriculum, no new resources, no trials, no PLD for teachers, literally nothing, and our results went backwards. We've come in, new curriculum, new resources, new internationally benchmarked levelling to make sure our kids are on par with everyone else, an hour a day, remove distractions, and now we're focusing on these kids who are more than a year behind to catch them up, to give them the very best start in life. We went to expert psychometricians. I didn't design it, the ministry didn't design it, expert psychometricians. Leanne Ottany from the New Zealand Principals Federation is not a psychometrician, so I will take their results and their analysis over hers any day.
Okay.
Because let's face it, this has become very, very political.
It has become political.
And actually, you know what, no, can I say one more thing? Because the thing that, Labor are not attacking me. Leanne is not attacking me. Do you know who they're attacking? The principals and the teachers in the classes who have been getting these results. It is disrespectful to them for these amazing results that they have worked so hard for over the last little while, and I just think it's
Here's
really
the problem. Here's the problem, because there'll be parents at home. Like, this is the most important issue for the future of the country, and there'll be parents at home going, well, I don't know, you might be in one of two schools of thought. One, we can just keep doing what we're doing and just hope that things turn around. Clearly that wasn't working. Or you can try some stuff. You might have to break some stuff, but you can try some stuff because we need to do something. Is this not something worth trying?
I just want to respond to what the Minister said there. I am absolutely not attacking the teachers and the students. We are challenging the messages that we have heard from the Minister and from the Ministry and testing the robustness of what has been presented to parents and the education spin here.
But when there's no policy from the left on education and they've got no idea, all they can do is go straight to, oh, well, it must be the methodology, it must be the data. They did the same thing with the phonics check.
All right, well, let's move on. Lake Alice, the privacy.
They just can't handle good results. It's a shame, because parents deserve this, and so do our kids.
The privacy breach for Lake Alice survivors. I saw the story and I just went, oh.
You went that.
Well,
I had the very similar but much worse reaction.
Did you?
Of course.
So how do you stop it from happening? And actually, not just in this case. This case is egregious because these people have suffered so much at the hands of the state already, and then we go and release their names. Yeah. But for anyone who's giving the information to the government, how do you stop it from leaking, being sent in an email, being hacked? Yeah,
well, especially, I mean, look, it was a very simple and extraordinarily avoidable mistake. We had spent the last 2 years, especially certainly the last sort of 15 months, with the Lake Alice survivors, ensuring that we created, well, firstly we apologised, we acknowledged that there was torture, we've created a redress system that has run extraordinarily well. I put so much effort into making sure we had the right person in Paul Davidson to run this process. We've held the results back for a while to give the survivors time to digest it and understand it and give them space. I have worked so hard at the very last minute, on the last day before we actually put the report out there, to have someone CC everybody. As you can imagine, is after I've been trying to build back the confidence of these people who have, you know, not been confident in the state.
I mean, this person obviously feels terrible for accidentally.
Well, yes, but the point is that, well, who feels worse, that person or, you know, the 32 survivors?
Is that person going to lose their job?
Well, I have firstly called the Chief Executive of the Crown Response Office into my office immediately, and I told him go straight to the Privacy Commissioner because this is a serious breach. And then I called the Public Service Commissioner, and I'm drafting a letter at the moment to the PSC, who are their employers, outlining my concerns because this is an employment matter that they will need to
They'll have to deal with.
It should never have happened.
Willow Jean, I mean, it's not a political thing. This is just an awful situation for any survivor to go through.
It is an awful situation. It's absolutely appalling. And what I would also mention is that this is the second serious privacy breach for Royal Commission abuse and care claimants. We had one reported earlier this week for the release of information under an Official Information Act where 5 people's private details were exposed on the internet. So the question to the Minister has to be what is going on within that system, and she needs to take responsibility for that.
Do you? Yeah,
well,
you do.
Yeah, that's why I've done all the things that I've done. Thank you, Lord.
Now, the reforms for local government or regional councils, getting rid of the regional councils, Labor keen on that?
Well, you know, Christopher Luxon campaigned on giving locals more say in local government, and these proposals are doing the complete opposite of that. Before I came to Parliament, I was a Far North District councillor, and in fact, we had quite the conversation about becoming a single unitary authority in Northland, and at that time, there wasn't community support for that. So Christopher Luxon promised more say for locals, and now this proposal seems to be taking that away.
But then Karen McAnulty was pretty positive about it.
I'm just reporting what I heard and saw when I was a councillor in the Far North.
But the thing is, no one votes for the councillors, which in my mind is a vote of no confidence in them. Otherwise, we would, you know, turn up and cast our vote and actually give a damn. I don't know.
I think that's really unfair to those people who are serving our communities both at local, on the district councils and on regional councils.
You're not going to be winning any fans.
Historically, voting has always been lower in local government, but they do a really important role for our communities.
Charge us rates.
Well, I think the point is that there's a huge amount of duplications, a huge amount of inefficiency and waste, and if we can get those mayors who know their communities best to do this, it'll be a much better outcome. But look, we're out for consultation, so people can have their say. Well, Jean, you can have your say online. Look forward
Submit,
to it.
And then we'll leak all your details. That's what Hey, either of you want to be a leader one day?
No, good Lord. I want to be Education Minister for the next 10 years. I keep telling you that, my friend. I've got a lot more work to do.
29 minutes after 7. Thanks for coming in this morning, guys. That's National's Erica Stanford and Labor's Willow Jean Prime on the panel this morning. Right, the Reserve Bank expects house prices to rise next year after homeowners have seen property values take a long-term dive or in some places just stagnate. It's the first clear signal from the central bank that the housing market is set to turn a corner after a long slowdown. Joining me now to look at this is Sam Steele, Head of Auctions at Ray White. Sam, good morning.
Morning, Ryan. How are you?
Very well, thank you. I saw some numbers the other day from interest.co.nz on auctions. We are quite a few happening at the moment, and the closing rate is going up a little bit as well. What are you seeing?
Well, it's definitely a marketplace at the moment, Ryan, which is enjoying a very gentle lift. Now, I wouldn't say it's a surge, but as the public enjoys some much-needed interest rate relief, we're seeing those numbers increase, both in terms of auctions that have been conducted, but equally people who are registering to bid for those auctions.
Right. So on the whole, would you say it's nothing really changed dramatically?
Nothing has changed dramatically. This is a market that just continues to move along. And one of the interesting facts with that is that, we've now had 7 OCR drops since August last year. We haven't seen a dramatic change. But while history does tell us one thing, is that when we do have an easing of monetary policy, that is followed very quickly by an increase in activity, which leads to an increase in pricing. So I think we're poised to see some positivity going forward.
Sam, when do you reckon we'll see your auction houses going gangbusters again then?
I'm always reluctant to make predictions. I mean, predictions are generally right unless you're talking about the future. But certainly, people have got short memories. And right now, if it wasn't for COVID, we would have record low interest rates. So it's not going to be very long until people start to cotton on to that. And I think we're going to see a very, very busy sort of mid to end of next year.
Sam, what's your style, your auctioneer style? Are you one of the really fast talkers? Do you like to let the room sit and sort of bathe in it for a little while? What's your strategy?
Much more conversational. So it's actually quite funny. That's one of the main questions that people ask me when they hear that I'm an auctioneer. Do you talk fast? No, very, very conversational. Like to make sure that everybody is involved and certainly everyone's comfortable.
Oh, that sounds like a much nicer way to do it. Rather than, some of them are like race jockeys, and coming around the corner, and you don't even know what's going on.
Even some of the Americans, I have no idea what they're saying. So.
Sam, good to see you. Thank you. Sam Steele, Ray White, Head of Auctions. It is 29 away from 8. Here's Neva with headlines.
Herald NOW News, powered by Newstalk ZB.
A push to get more bike lanes as the government eyes up moving e-scooters onto them from pathways. ACC statistics show there were more than 2,100 claims for e-scooter-related injuries in the first half of this year. Payouts for e-scooter injuries this year are close to surpassing 14 million. Cycling Action spokesperson Patrick Morgan told Ryan Bridge, e-scooters are here to stay, so councils need to build more bike lanes to meet demand. He says we don't need a bike lane on every street, just on main thoroughfares where people want to go. Questions remain over the cause of the deadly Hong Kong fire, which has killed at least 83 people. Another 250 remain missing after the blaze ripped through 7 of 8 tower blocks. Bamboo scaffolding and safety netting were encasing the buildings, which were undergoing renovation. The exact cause of the inferno has yet to be determined. 3 construction company executives have been arrested on suspicion of manslaughter. More than $1.2 million was spent on the government's curriculum roadshows, which many principals refused to attend. Education Minister Erica Stanford and international speakers led the 4 events, with $220,000 spent just on their fees, travel and accommodation. They aim to guide school leaders through major changes. The Reserve Bank is projecting house prices will start steadily recovering next year. However, it doesn't see prices returning to their 2021 peak anytime soon. Its forward projections have the Cotality House Price Index increasing consistently from next year, but prices are only expected to be in line with incomes. By late 2028, house prices are still projected to be about 3% below the record high reached in late 2021. It's tools down again for more than 17,000 public health workers. Allied health staff, nurses, policy and advisory workers are just some of the Public Service Association members striking today for 4 hours from 1 p.m. Health NZ says plans are in place to ensure hospital and community health service delivery. And firefighters are striking again today for better work conditions and more resources to serve communities. Some 2,000 New Zealand Professional Firefighters Union members are walking off the job from midday to 1 p.m. Hopes families of the Mount Erebus disaster will find peace in a new memorial in Christchurch. The National Memorial will be built at Craycroft Reserve in Kashmir, overlooking the city in Southern Alps. It will honour the 257 people who died when an Air New Zealand flight crashed into Antarctica's Mount Erebus 46 years ago today.
Herald Now Sport, brought to you by Gold Sport.
Golfer Ryan Fox has a share of the clubhouse lead after karting a 4-under par 67 across an incomplete opening round at the Australian PGA Championship in Brisbane. Expect a larger scale Commonwealth Games if New Zealand hosts the 2034 edition. An expression of interest has been made to bring the event back for the first time since 1990. The International Judo Federation has reinstated full national representation rights to Russian athletes at competitions despite the war in Ukraine.
Space update for your Friday morning. A Russian-American crew took off late last night to begin a joint mission on the International Space Station. The Russian spacecraft, here it is, Soyuz, 2 Russians and an American on board. Here they are lifting off. The craft docked at the International Space Station some 3 hours after this at around 1 o'clock this morning. All 3 expected to spend about 8 months at the space station together, and if they can't solve world peace, who can? How cool's that? Right, here's weather.
Herald Now Weather, brought to you by You Do It Kitchens.
Good morning. Last Friday of spring. Summer kicks off on Monday, but still feeling very summery today with more warm weather on the way and a little bit of rain thanks to a front moving onto the North Island. So just a couple of heavy rain watches remain in place this morning, but these will all expire by midday. There will still be showers for the South Island, but they are clearing. Westerlies developed this morning for Dunedin. That turns northeast by around lunchtime. Now this is looking good for the upper half of the South Island, with cloud clearing this morning and becoming fine. Winds will mostly be from the west or northwest, but turning more easterly later in the day. Not so dry here, with rain this morning, possible thunderstorms and downpours for Taranaki, Kapiti and Wellington, but clearing to be fine early this afternoon. Now that heat alert is still in place for Napier, very hot today. There will be rain spreading for everyone, heavy at times during the afternoon, maybe thundery for Hawke's Bay and Gisborne. And showers for the upper north too, especially this afternoon when the showers may be heavy and maybe thundery. Winds end up from the west or northwest.
23 minutes away from 8 o'clock. So that rocket that took off to space and has now docked at the International Space Station. I was sort of joking with Paul, who's in our control room. He's not funny, I am. We were joking about how far away it is, and it's basically the same distance as Wellington to Taupō or Auckland to Taupō. So you can get to space, you can get to the International Space Station quicker than you can get to Taupō, about the same distance. And then we were talking about the fact that they're all on camera once they're there, which is a little bit weird. You know, like it's sort of like Big Brother once you're up in space, once you're at the International Space Station. Anyway, they're up there, they're safe. That is the main thing, and they will be there for the next 8 months. Now, if you want to check us out on YouTube, you can search at Herald TV, and you'll see the live show and all the interviews that you've missed. Make a point of clicking subscribe while you're there, and you'll find us much easier tomorrow. Except you won't, because it's Saturday. That'll be Monday. Time to talk business now, thanks to our partners, 2 Degrees. Garth, good morning.
Good morning, Ryan.
Now, we've got a bunch of numbers yesterday. Retail trade data, we got ASB, business confidence, and we're looking good.
This is all like, you know, New Zealand economy, you look pretty today. You look real pretty. Actually, it's 3 months back. It's the September quarter, right? So this is looking backwards. But that's got to be a good sign for the quarter that we're in and Black Friday and all the stuff that's happening in retail now. So you had a 1.9% quarterly growth from the previous quarter, and 4.5%, it was actually 5%, but they knocked it back to 4.5% for inflation adjustments growth year on year, which is way above what everybody was thinking. They were picking about a 0.5 to 0.6, not a 1.9. So, woohoo, big surprise on the upside. probably just put the complete tin lid on any chances of another OCR upgrade on the basis of that, you'd say. But yeah, some strong increases in individual components, like a 9.8% surge in electrical and electronic goods, quite a lot of cars as well, about 7% gain in vehicles. It's a time of the year maybe where there's government contracts rolling off and some rollout deals and that kind of thing, so you'd see a bit of a lumpy pickup there.
So
but
it's good, Garth.
on the whole, good, and some good confidence numbers too.
Yes, and the confidence numbers I like. So this is the ANZ's Business Outlook.
Yeah.
Surveys the businesses,
Yeah.
what are you thinking?
Yeah.
And yes, their confidence is up, but their own activity,
Yeah.
like that, so it's not just like hopes and feels and dreams, it's actually what they have sold gives them confidence as
Highest
well.
read since August 2021.
Great.
And those other numbers were the best in about a decade. So
Great.
everybody is suddenly feeling like spring is here, summer's coming, get on it.
Great. Good, Garth. Now, what else are we doing this morning?
Well, look, just as well, things are looking up because we're going to need a whole lot of money to fix our Defence Force bases. We heard a little bit about that this week. What we didn't quite hear is the real number, which our Thomas Manch, our new infrastructure hire, has just picked out there. $15.4 billion over the next 15 years is apparently what they're talking about. Cabinet had a look at that, the Cabinet papers. That's the figure they've identified they'll need to find over that time. They talked about, I think, $2.5 billion.
Yeah, they did. We had Chris Pink on yesterday. So is that wrong?
Well, that's what they've allocated and said they will spend, but what they know in the background they're going to have to find to actually do everything is more like 15.4.
But they're not doing that. They're just doing the 2.5.
Piece by piece, and $4 billion for Devonport Naval Base over the next 35 years and so on. But this is basically to fix decades and decades of underspending there. But interesting.
It's a bit of a dump, some of those spaces.
I mean, someone's going to have to build it. It's going to be jobs. It's going to be money spent,
True.
And the world's probably not getting any less hectic.
Yeah, good way of putting it. Now, who is our fastest growing company?
That would be, if you guess tracksuit, you would be right. And if you say, what is tracksuit, I can explain.
Yeah, no, it's a cool company. Tell everyone about it.
If you're a business that's trying to grow bigger and you want to track what the brands are doing around the world, you think you might be launching a set of sneakers or whatever, or you want to see what someone else's brand is doing, your own brand is doing. Traditionally, this is expensive. It costs hundreds of thousands of dollars to do really well. These guys have come in with a way to do it at about a tenth of the cost, and with a lot of flexibility, and everyone loves it. Disney's hired them. I think Goodman Fielder have hired them. They're getting lots and lots of traction. I think they had so their revenue growth over the last 3 years, they've only been around for about 4, 627%, which means that they are the Deloitte Fast 50 fastest growing company.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's a very cool idea.
It's a cool idea.
Very cool company and some very big growth.
Yeah.
Garth, thank you very much for that. Good to see you.
Always.
Have a lovely
Happy
weekend.
Thanksgiving. The American market's closed today and half tomorrow.
How do you think we would get on in space together for 8 months, Garth?
I think it would be a test of the relationship, Brian.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
Or do you think we'd grow closer?
I'd hope so.
Just keep laughing when I pour my water.
I think we both need to do a lot of reps because you lose a lot of muscle mass up in space.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, and you want to be looking good for each other, obviously.
And all those people watching on camera.
Garth Bray from Business Desk. Thanks to our partners, 2 Degrees. Right, time for a quick break, cool off, and then a new study into how we hear comes up with a few surprising results. The scientist behind this is next. This is my favourite story of the day. And then your weekend weather with Heather Keats from Met Service, all ahead. Stay with me. We will, because we're getting to our scientists, so we will go straight to that now, which is a great story, which is a fantastic story, in fact. So, here we are. Turns out our ears are far less reliable at locating sound than we might think. And we have an experiment to prove this today, especially when the sounds are directly in front of us. Researchers at the University of Auckland have used spoons to reveal surprising auditory illusions, helping them better understand how our brains process and interpret what we're hearing. Sam Schwarzkopf, Health and Science Associate Professor, is behind it and with me at the desk. Sam, good morning.
Good morning.
Great to have you here. So tell me what it is that you were the study was trying to find out, or what was the hypothesis?
So we actually, quite by accident, we discovered this perceptual effect where, as you described, we mishear sounds that are in the central planes or right in front of us, sort of this axis. We tend to hear them to be behind us. And, it was literally by accident. We played around in our kitchen with spoons, right? Because we read about owls and they can hear really well where things are, and we wanted to know, how well can we do that? And so we found this phenomenon which sort of puzzled us.
So there's a sound in front of me,
Yeah.
and I think it's behind me.
Yeah.
If my eyes are closed.
Yeah. So we can demonstrate it if you want.
Please.
I hope it works.
Oh.
I've never tried it in a studio.
All right.
So you would ask
You
people...
might have to, yeah, okay, there we go. There's a good angle. All right.
You ask people to actually stand on this side, to close their eyes, and if you trust them not to cheat, so don't cheat, or you can use a blindfold.
I'm on camera. I can't cheat. They'll know.
Well, that's true. Okay, and then I'll just tap these spoons, and you tell me where you hear them. Best is if you just say in words. Okay.
Okay. Right. Above. Behind. Left. Right. Above. Behind. In front. Behind. To the right. Above.
Try one more.
In front.
Ah, the last one you got right.
But
So-
what, all the others were wrong?
So the last few were in front of you. So
Did I get them wrong?
you heard them
Did I?
above or behind, which is precisely what we've been finding. So
and they were
typically, mostly people hear it behind them, but it might be above, it's sort of above behind, so it can be a mixture.
But it was actually in front of me when you're doing that.
Yeah, the last few were all in front of you.
How weird. They were all laughing, so 50-50. Do you know what's funny about this? There's a ticking sound in my car, and just yesterday, my husband and I were having quite an intense argument about where the sound was coming from, and I was saying, it's in the front, we need to get the front checked, and he's saying, no, it's in the back, it'll just be something to do in the boot. So is this something that you, although we had our eyes open, it actually doesn't make any sense.
Well, it does, because, obviously when you see me with the spoons and I'm in front of you, you probably wouldn't say it's behind you. But if it's a sound that you don't know actually where it's coming from.
True, you can't see that,
And that's precisely one of the experiments we want to go to next. Because obviously, as fun as this is, and it's great for, let's say, a next barbecue, dinner party, this is, you can't do as many experiments with walking around with spoons.
But what does it say about our ears if we need our eyes to hear?
Yes, I think it reveals a gap in our understanding of how we hear sounds and where sounds are. Right? It's quite a fundamental thing that we don't actually understand. So, the fact that we confuse back and front, that's not that surprising, because you need two ears to hear where things are, right? Because they hear slightly differently. But the fact that we sort of confidently think it's behind us, we don't understand why that's happening.
Okay, so how do we find that out?
So we will do more studies on this and under more controlled conditions than using spoons. That's definitely the next step that we need to do. But things, for example, that I want to look at is whether it depends on your experience. So people who grew up blind, for example, or with low vision, we tend to think that they have more spatially acute hearing, right? So they might actually be better at this, but we don't know that, right? It has not been tested. So that's one of the next things to understand.
Did you try or will you try teaching people, like getting people to close their eyes, and can you teach them to learn where sounds are coming from, do you think?
Yes, so that's another experiment that I would very much like to do.
Why is it important? Why should we hear?
Well, I think there's two reasons, right? One I sort of alluded to, it's the scientific curiosity. There's a gap in our knowledge, right? And the point of science is to find the gaps in our knowledge and fill them in. And so that's what we want to do next. So really to actually understand how the brain works and how our hearing works. And so, we need this for building creating new audio technology, for example, that more accurately replicates what we hear. To understand how to do that, we need to understand hearing, right? But then the more practical implications is, say, if you have blindness or low vision, you really rely on hearing, right? To cross the road, for example. So in those kind of situations, it's actually quite important that we know where things are by hearing.
True.
And of course, it is still important for people who can see as well, right? But especially people who are blind, it might actually be really relevant.
Yeah.
So.
And people also need to know which direction to turn. If your husband or wife, if you're having an argument, for example, where you can turn to not hear them. All those things are really important. Hey, good to see you this morning. Love the aviators, by the way. Very cool. Thanks for coming in. That is from, forgive me, Sam Schwarzkopf, who's the Associate Professor at Medical and Health Sciences, on a pretty cool study, you'd have to say. It is 12 minutes away from 8. We'll take a quick break and be back in a minute.
I'm Hayden Scott, and I'm a knife maker. I make knives from my workshop at home in West Auckland. Here in my previous life, I was a chef. Did that for 25 years. But I had this knife making thing that I was doing and had been doing for some time. And so that transition from finishing that 25-year career and taking the plunge into full-time knife maker, I had been building up to that, but I still had to take a leap.
I'm upgrading Grand's old flip phone. This new model's got an awesome camera, built-in AI, and it still flips.
Oh, flip life forever, baby!
Nobody has supreme knowledge or phone upgrades like Noel Leeming.
Maximising productivity, what have you got?
Oh, well, if we switch to 2 degrees, with Flex for Business, we can instantly manage data usage, employee mobile plans, and cost centre reporting, saving us time and money. Cool. I'll get onto that then.
I became a Herald journalist to go behind the headlines and to help people make sense of the world.
I became a Herald journalist to help people understand the big issues that affect them.
To ask the right questions and to press people who have the answers.
To listen to people and to be fair and balanced.
To highlight the plight of the marginalised and vulnerable and challenge those in authority.
To share extraordinary moments in the lives of ordinary people.
I became a Herald journalist to report the facts. That's what we're here to do.
If it's news you can trust, it's news worth knowing. The New Zealand Herald.
Welcome back. 10 away from 8 to Sri Lanka now, where 31 people are dead and 14 missing after heavy rain triggered floods and landslides. Most of the deaths occurred in the mountains in the centre of the country. Lakes and rivers are overflowing, closing key roads and rail lines. You can see people trapped on their roofs by the floodwaters. So far, the severe weather has impacted about 4,000 families. Back home now, it's the last weekend of spring. Hooray! Heather's here for a little update from Met Service to talk about what we can expect this weekend and also for the season ahead. Good morning.
Hello.
Good to see you, Heather.
Nice to see you.
So last weekend of spring.
I know. Yay.
Yay.
We survived.
We made it.
We did good. It's been quite an active week, though.
Has.
Yeah, I mean, Christchurch, started with a high of 15 on Monday and ended up with highs in the 30s the last couple of days. Look, it's been very warm and muggy and it's been very, very wet. Last 36 hours, we've had over 14,000 strikes of lightning strikes, either over land or very close to the shoreline. And we're still watching those active fronts as they move north. There will still be some thunderstorms today too, popping up all over the place, including for the upper north as well, spots like Auckland and Northland. But we do have a couple of rain watches still in place. So these are yellow heavy rain watches for the Tararua Range, Taranaki, Horowhenua and for Wellington, and they will expire by midday. So that is good news. The severe weather is out. Not going to last. It will return, but the rest of today is looking pretty good.
Okay. What about for Auckland this weekend? Are we going to get more rain? Because it was raining this morning, wasn't it?
Yeah, we're going to get showers. We are going to get some showers. Tomorrow's definitely the better day for the whole of the country. On Saturday, it's looking, I guess, fine in the south of the North Island too, but there is low confidence that a warning might be required for heavy rain in northern Fiordland and the ranges of Westland again. And then on Sunday, the weather does start to pack in again. We've got a low pressure system crawling out of the Tasman Sea, so that'll drive up the winds, drop a bit of heavy rain around as well. So, I mean, it's not the best weekend, but there are going to be plenty of pockets of fine skies and spots in the North Island, especially for Saturday's looking good, Sunday not so great.
Looking ahead to Monday?
That's the 1st of December.
Oh, it is too.
Yeah.
Pinch and a punch.
Yeah.
So what can we expect? First day of summer?
Yeah, well, it's...
Sunshine?
For some and rain for others. So we do have some more active weather rolling in. The thing I think, though, that's been The biggest topic over the last few days has definitely been the heat. So it's been really hot, it's been really humid. We've had that heat alert, the first heat alert for the season issued for Napier. Yesterday in Auckland, we broke a November record. It was the warmest November day in Auckland's history. That goes back 1966 we started record keeping, so that's significant. That's really warm, and the same for Hastings. They had almost 33 degrees, and that heat is going to continue, hence the heat alert, because for Napier it's not just hot days, it's also very warm muggy nights. But we are seeing a bit of respite in those overnight lows, so places like Christchurch still going to have like 26 degrees tomorrow, but you're dropping down to a low of 8 tonight. So when you've got those really warm days and those nights drop down quite nice and low, no need for a heat alert, but it is something to be mindful of because it has definitely been a very hot and humid week.
What does the heat alert actually mean? Like, what's the significance of it?
So similar to the way we do our watches and warnings, a heat alert is to indicate that there's a prolonged period of heat that could have an impact to you or your loved ones or your pets. So when you've got long heat exposure, it's not great for the health, right? You've got to be mindful of staying hydrated, making sure that your sleeping conditions are good, because we know that the body doesn't do well when we're sleeping in really warm conditions. So that's what a heat alert does.
Which is why if it's going to cool down overnight, it doesn't matter so much.
It doesn't matter so much, right? You get that break, but yeah.
Oh, very good. Well, we're looking forward to summer. Anything else we need to be aware of?
There's a few things on this weekend. Santa Parade's on in Auckland on Sunday. It's 1 p.m. Yeah, it's going to be wet. Could be wet. Occasional showers. Might just want to prepare for that.
But it'll be warm. It'll be warm.
Exactly. No one cares. Kids don't care about rain when it's warm. What else is on this weekend? There's that big Taupo cycle race that happens on Saturday. Perfect conditions for that.
Great.
Sunshine. High of 23, great if you want to ride for a really long time. And there's a couple of anniversary weekends too. Westland anniversary weekend and the Chatham Islands anniversary weekend, so they'll be mindful of what's happening on Monday. But yeah, it's one of those weekends, keep an eye on the radar, keep an eye on updates, because there probably will be a couple of watches and warnings issued, but still warm.
So you basically don't want to be Santa at the Santa Parade because it's going to be muggy, and of course he's got a big suit and he's used to the cold and he's going to have the beard.
Poor Santa has to deal in the Southern Hemisphere with a lot of these conditions for Santa Parade, doesn't he?
Terrible time. Heather, thank you. Heather Keats from Met Service. You're watching Herald Now. It's just gone 4 minutes away from 8. Very quickly, I thought that this is unrelated but sort of related. So 44.8 degrees in the outback of New South Wales yesterday. Very hot there. Where else was it? Sydney, forecast 39 degrees, a scorcher. Very hot. But what's really getting people hot under the collar is the Bureau of Meteorology in Australia. They call them BOM. So BOM has a new website and it has absolutely bombed with the public. They are hating it, especially the farmers. So within hours of this website going live, the revamped website, the hashtag was change it back. That's gone viral. So what they've done is changed the colour scheme for the rain radar, and so no one can read the rain radar anymore. So you wake up in the morning, you check your rain radar, and don't know what's going on. Furious farmers are, and fishermen especially, about the GPS feature. So you used to be able to put in your GPS location and then it would tell you what the weather will be for your specific area. Well, unfortunately, that's disappeared. Now, that is not what's getting people really fired up. I mean, you're fired up already, I know, just listening to this, because it's annoying. But what's really got people hot under the collar is the price tag. So how much do you think it would cost to revamp a website for a Met Service? It was meant to cost 4.1 million Australian dollars. The total cost, all said and done, after the revamp, which no one likes anyway, $96.5 million. How? 3 minutes away from 8. Yesterday, the Commonwealth Games General Assembly awarded the Centenary 2030 Games to India, a city in India, Ahmedabad. At the meeting, New Zealand put its hand up to host the 2036 Games. Ryan Archibald is a former Black Sticks hockey player with us this morning and the New Zealand Olympic Committee Director of Team Services. Good morning.
Morning, Ryan.
Ryan, good to have you on the program. So, it's been 35 years since we last hosted the Commonwealth Games. Why try to host another one now?
Well, I think it's sort of hit the nail on the head. It's been a long time, Ryan. I think New Zealand is a key member of the Commonwealth and a key part of the Commonwealth sport movement. So So we're interested in investigating what a bid for New Zealand would look like. So currently we have an expression of interest with Commonwealth Sport. It's nothing more than that at this stage, but we're very interested in exploring the opportunity.
How much does it cost?
Well, that's a good question. I think since Victoria pulled out and now Glasgow hosting the Games next year, there's been very much a reset within the Commonwealth movement. So there's more flexibility for a host to kind of design a Games around their means, to do it more sustainably. So I think the Glasgow Games is costing about 300 million New Zealand dollars, which is probably a bit of an MVP product. But the good thing behind the reset is that the host can have a bit more control moving forward, which probably lends itself to New Zealand looking at a Games and doing it perhaps, within our means. Obviously, there needs to be political appetite for that sort of decision, but it doesn't necessarily need to be a hugely expensive exercise.
Okay, and what is the relevance of the Commonwealth Games? I mean, are people still tuned in? It's obviously not the world against, it's not the Olympics, is it? And so a lot of people say, well, should we be that focused on it? Should we bother with it? Should we spend all this money on it? What do we get from it?
I think it's definitely not the Olympics, and it shouldn't try to be the Olympics. We know that New Zealanders are highly interested in Commonwealth Games. It's the third most watched sporting event by New Zealanders, behind the Olympic Games and the Rugby World Cup. We know that our sports value it in terms of the pathway it provides for their athletes. For a number of our sports that aren't Olympic sports, it's a key pinnacle event. And for those that go on to the Olympics, then it's a really effective tool in terms of preparing athletes, giving them the opportunity to experience a multi-sport Games, and hopefully strengthen their ability to perform well at an Olympics. So it has value. New Zealanders are interested in it, and our sports really value the opportunity that it brings.
When would we look at hosting it?
So 2034 is the expression of interest that we have at the moment. So as you mentioned, Ahmedabad in India has just been awarded. So in the, I guess, near to medium future, Commonwealth Sport will start to look at what hosting opportunities for 2034. So that's what our expression of interest is aimed at.
Ryan, appreciate your time this morning. Thanks for being with me. Ryan Archibald, former Black Sticks hockey player and New Zealand Olympic Committee Director of Team Services. And as Ryan correctly pointed out there, it is Ahmedabad in India that will host in 2030. You're watching Herald Now. It's 8:01. Kia ora, good morning. Welcome to Herald Now with me, Ryan Bridge. Great to have your company this Friday, the 28th of November. On the show this hour, Auditory Mount Cook has claimed 2 more lives this week, and mountaineering legend adventurer Peter Hillary joins me next to talk about the unique dangers of our highest peak and why people take the risk. New data from a nationwide maths acceleration trial shows students made, on average, a year to 2 years of progress in just 12 weeks. Government says these results are legit. Opposition is questioning them. Our panel weighs in shortly. After more than 2 decades in the big chair, today is Simon Dello's last day on the 6 p.m. news. Media insider Shane Curry joins me in 10 minutes. First, here is Neva.
Herald Now News, powered by Newstalk ZB.
A push to get more bike lanes as the government eyes up moving e-scooters onto them from pathways. ACC statistics show there were more than 2,100 claims for e-scooter related injuries in the first half of this year. Payouts for e-scooter injuries this year are close to surpassing 14 million. Cycling Action spokesperson Patrick Morgan told Ryan Bridge, e-scooters are here to stay, so councils need to build more bike lanes to meet demand. He says we don't need a bike lane on every street, just on main thoroughfares where people want to go. Questions remain over the cause of the deadly Hong Kong fire, which has killed at least 83 people. Another 250 remain missing after the blaze ripped through 7 of 8 tower blocks. Bamboo scaffolding and safety netting were encasing the buildings, which were undergoing renovation. The exact cause of the inferno has yet to be determined. 3 construction company executives have been arrested on suspicion of manslaughter. More than $1.2 million was spent on the government's curriculum roadshows, which many principals refused to attend. Education Minister Erica Stanford and international speakers led the 4 events, with $220,000 spent just on their fees, travel and accommodation. They aim to guide school leaders through major changes. The Reserve Bank is projecting house prices will start steadily recovering next year. However, it doesn't see prices returning to their 2021 peak anytime soon. Its forward projections have the Totality House Price Index increasing consistently from next year, but prices are only expected to be in line with incomes. By late 2028, house prices are still projected to be about 3% below the record high reached in late 2021. It's tools down again for more than 17,000 public health workers. Allied health staff, nurses, policy and advisory workers are just some of the Public Service Association members striking today for 4 hours from 1 p.m. Health NZ says plans are in place to ensure hospital and community health service delivery. And firefighters are striking again today for better work conditions and more resources to serve communities. Some 2,000 New Zealand Professional Firefighters Union members are walking off the job from midday to 1 p.m. Hope's families of the Mount Erebus disaster will find peace in a new memorial in Christchurch. The National Memorial will be built at Craycroft Reserve in Kashmir, overlooking the city in Southern Alps. It will honour the 257 people who died when an Air New Zealand flight crashed into Antarctica's Mount Erebus 46 years ago today.
Herald Now Sport, brought to you by Gold Sport.
Golfer Ryan Fox has a share of the clubhouse lead after carding a 4-under par 67 across an incomplete opening round at the Australian PGA Championship in Brisbane. Expect a larger-scale Commonwealth Games if New Zealand hosts the 2034 edition. An expression of interest has been made to bring the event back for the first time since 1990. The International Judo Federation has reinstated full national representation rights to Russian athletes at competitions despite the war in Ukraine.
For the big issues now, I spent half my day yesterday driving around looking for a car park. I know, so annoying, couldn't find one. Did the trick. Does anyone else do the Hail Mary full of grace, please find me a parking space? Didn't work. Normally that works. And I don't care whether it's paid one, I don't care if it's a free one, I just need a car park. And I thought, actually, calm down, Ryan, this is a good thing. It means that people are out shopping and they're spending their money, and that's good. It's a full street is a healthy street, is the saying. But do you think, I think, we need more car parks? The CRL doesn't take you everywhere you need to go, and it certainly doesn't do it quickly. And I was chatting to Nick Sautner on the program yesterday, if you didn't catch it. He wants to build 1,500 extra car parks at Eden Park. The stadium that he worked at in Melbourne, the car park, get this, was their single largest source of revenue. They go absolutely nuts, gangbusters. Good luck to him, by the way, with getting the concerts through, because the local board yesterday rejected the idea, said they didn't want it to happen. But anyway, he wants his car parks. And I had a look at airports this morning, because it's a similar thing, basically, to stadia. You drive somewhere, you leave your car for a while, then you go off and do something fun, like a concert, or in this case, a holiday. Sydney, Brisbane and Melbourne, car parking accounts for between 7 and 15% of their revenue. That's massive. A few years back, they made a loss on everything except car parking. I know, incredible. Profit margins, also massive. 40% in Melbourne. Profit margin apparently 58% for airports in Brisbane and Perth. So why aren't we building more of them? If they are profitable and people are using them, why aren't we? Maybe we are and I just haven't seen them. I'm just seeing them being taken away and cycleways put in or removed for other reasons. But there's no point having an economic recovery on and shops ready for business when people can't get there in the first place.
Herald Now Weather, brought to you by You Do It Kitchens.
Good morning. Last Friday of spring. Summer kicks off on Monday, but still feeling very summery today with more warm weather on the way and a little bit of rain thanks to a front moving onto the North Island. So just a couple of heavy rain watches remain in place this morning, but these will all expire by midday. There will still be showers for the South Island, but they are clearing. Westerlies developed this morning for Dunedin. That turns northeast by around lunchtime. Now this is looking good for the upper half of the South Island, with cloud clearing this morning and becoming fine. Winds will mostly be from the west or northwest, but turning more easterly later in the day. Not so dry here, with rain this morning, possible thunderstorms and downpours for Taranaki, Kapiti and Wellington, but clearing to be fine early this afternoon. Now that heat alert is still in place for Napier, very hot today. There will be rain spreading for everyone, heavy at times during the afternoon, maybe thundery for Hawke's Bay and Gisborne. And showers for the upper north too, especially this afternoon when the showers may be heavy and maybe thundery. Winds end up from the west or northwest.
There have been more than 240 deaths on Auditory Mount Cook since the 20th century, with an experienced climbing guide and his American client the latest to lose their lives this week, sadly. A man who knows Mount Cook very well and from a famous Kiwi family the world over is mountaineer Peter Hillary, son of Sir Edmund, joining us live from Sydney this morning. Peter, good morning.
Good morning.
Very sad news, obviously, this week, and we have spoken about this for a couple of days now. But I wanted to ask you this morning, a lot of people have been questioning, why would you do it? You know, there is such a risk. There's such a history of accidents, things going wrong. Why would you do it? Can you explain to us from a mountaineer's point of view what motivates you, what drives you up that mountain?
Look, it comes down to passion, really. I mean, you know, certain people are drawn to certain things. I mean, we all know people who perhaps became a ballet dancer or a software engineer. It was something about that activity that really drew them. And for mountaineers, that sort of the sparkling snow on the horizon, a jagged fang-like mountain, is this irresistible lure. It's this beautiful natural feature. Look, I always used to hate that quote from George Mallory, because it is there. But in some ways, it is a bit like that. You think of a mountain like Aoraki Mount Cook, it is just there. It's the biggest mountain we have. It's a huge undertaking. And for some of us, it's an irresistible lure.
We've explored most of planet Earth, yet there is that explorer kind of gene, that kind of urge or need to just keep discovering new things, to keep going new places. Is that part of it too, do you think?
Yeah, look, I think it is, but I think it's also the fact we live in an age where each individual can take on these things. So while really all the great mountains of the world have been climbed by all sorts of different routes, a particular person wants to have that experience for themselves, and it's an incredible experience. You know, to be up on a great mountain like that, looking out at dawn, out over the surrounding terrain, huge drops all around, and thinking you have to be the master of your own destiny. And I think that's actually quite an important part of the mountaineering experience, but also the freedom for each of us to get out there and challenge ourselves in ways that we want to.
Peter, Mount Cook, or Aoraki Mount Cook in particular, has it changed, like weather patterns, glaciers, conditions over the years?
Well, with glacial recession, you know, there are changes, and it's always been, you know, within human history of mountaineering, a dangerous undertaking. I mean, there are huge seracs. These are sort of ice pinnacles peeling away from hanging glaciers that threaten some of the routes. There's avalanche, and of course we have our good old New Zealand maritime weather, which is pretty tempestuous and changeable. And you know, that's quite a cocktail of dangers, and you have to, when you go to a mountain like this, make assessments that you've gone there in the right time, right conditions, and that you're in the right state. You're the right person for the job at the time.
I always think about the spouse, the husband or the wife who's left at home hoping that their loved one comes back. What are those conversations like, you know, before you leave? Hey, I really want to do this. I mean, I'm assuming that, you know, they would probably know this about you before they married you, that you have this kind of spirit in you, but it must be harrowing for them.
Oh, look, I think there's no question. I mean, when a terrible accident like this happens, it is a tragedy and it's shattering. I mean, it turns people's lives around. It means there are children without a parent, you know, all sorts of things. It's a very, very tough thing. But I think, you know, our draw to express ourselves in the way that we really want to is a very strong one, and it's a really important one, that people have the freedom to get out there and take on the adventures and challenges that they truly seek.
I was listening to a podcast the other week about Joe and Simon, a couple of climbers in 1985. I'm sure you know about the story. And one of them thought the other he fell, thought that he had died, left the mountain, left him alone on the mountain, walked down, was at base camp for 3 days, and 3 or 4 days later, out he walks. But you have to make some pretty brutal decisions up there too.
Yes, well, Touching the Void is a classic story. I mean, it's a wonderful book, an account of a climb where that actually did happen. They were struggling to get off the mountain, and Simon had to save himself, cut the rope, not expecting that his friend would come back. And look, you know, some of these sorts of situations, very rarely, but they can happen. I mean, it's sort of a part of the vagaries of life.
Peter, really appreciate you coming on the show this morning. Thanks so much for being with me. Peter Hillary, who we all know. Time is 8:15, and that means it's time for Media Insider with Herald Editor-at-Large Shane Curry. Shane, good morning.
Morning, Ryan.
Good to see you. So, we're talking about Simon Dello this morning, finishing tonight's
the
show.
final night after almost 20 years on air as our 6 p.m. newsreader on TVNZ. And I've reflected in the column today just the kind of the highs and lows of those 2 decades. He kind of started out with Wendy Petrie alongside him in 2006. There was a fair bit of vitriol at the time because if you remember, you might not remember, you're so young, but...
No, I do. Judy Bailey.
Judy Bailey replaced the mother of the nation. Of course, I think it took probably a year or so for them to settle into the hot seats. And Simon actually had a radio show at the same time. And I remember 9 months in, and we talk about it in the column today, he actually went on the front foot against some pretty nasty letter writing that appeared in the Herald, actually, where a letter writer accused both of them of being Stepford Muppets and basically cardboard cutouts and not really up to scratch. But I think over time, and pretty quickly actually, they settled into those roles professionally and have become part of our, media
part
landscape.
of the furniture.
Yeah.
They've been there a long time. Well, in Simon's case, a very long time.
Yeah, so big night for him.
Big night.
Yeah. And I think TVNZ's got some pretty special things planned for the end of the bulletin tonight. I think Simon himself's probably going to celebrate into the early hours.
Yeah, and fair enough, well earned too. Gosh, he looks.
Yeah, we've got a
different now, doesn't he?
we've got a picture gallery on the Herald site today, just of Simon
through the
years. Of course, he actually started at TVNZ in 1993 in various presenting roles, almost by accident. He was at a production company to pick up Ali Moore, his then wife, and they thought he was there for an audition for another show. And they said, well, you might as well come and do it anyway. He's a trained lawyer.
He was a lawyer, yeah.
He was a lawyer, and he actually passed the audition with flying colours. So
wow.
They fast-tracked him into television.
Shoot, turned out pretty well.
Accidental news presenter almost. Yeah.
It's because you mentioned Judy Bailey, because there was a big scandal about the pay, once they went down to the one presenter. Was she getting 800K?
800,000, yeah.
And that was outrageous at the time.
Yeah, and it came hot on the heels of a big payout to John Hawkesby of around $6 million because he got paid out of his contract. So for a long time there, TVNZ was going through some, pretty heated and hot headlines in the media.
Now, we've got big news in the world of advertising with a significant merger now confirmed.
Yeah, that's right. The Omnicom and IPG companies Interpublic have merged. That was made official in New York overnight yesterday. And so now in New Zealand, these are huge repercussions for agencies around the world. In New Zealand, there's a dozen or so agencies that are impacted. And that, of course, unfortunately also means scrutiny on jobs and cost cuts. But one agency in particular, the creative agency DDB, which is a very esteemed agency in New Zealand, it's been struggling kind of more globally, but it's been responsible for some of our biggest and most successful campaigns in New Zealand. It looks like that might get swallowed up and come under one of the other branded umbrellas, McCann or one of the other names.
A lot of consolidation going on.
A lot of consolidation, not just in the media agencies themselves, but across the landscape. Yeah.
Now, Wendy Petrie has a new business. What is it?
Yeah, she does. So Wendy, we know well from our own newsroom. She reads the news for ZB often, and of course is still filling in for TVNZ as a news presenter. But her and her husband Ross, who has also been in television for a long time, behind the camera, he's Ross Peebles, who's been an executive producer for TVNZ for the cricket. He's actually resigned from TVNZ and they've now bought a franchise, Speedy Signs. So we've got a little bit about that. She's venturing out into the business world.
Wow.
So they've set up or taken over the Albany franchise in North Auckland.
Oh, good on them. That's very cool.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be something to do with swimming because she's always swimming. She's very good at it too.
She's very athletic. She's actually got a podcast, I think, where she talks to former athletes and current athletes.
Very cool.
About their exploits.
Now, Sky let off some fireworks inside or something? What's this about?
Well, no. So for those of us who are rugby fans and watched the Welsh All Blacks Test match last weekend at the Principality Stadium in Wales, which is an indoor stadium with a roof, there were fireworks before the game, and for about the first 20 or 30 minutes, the picture from the actual test match, basically with the digital advertising and the players and the smoke, it combined to create this horrific hologram-like experience where it was kind of almost out of character experience. I was hoping we might have some images, but no, it wasn't a great experience for the viewer, and Sky TV has explained what's happened. And they've also had a please explain message sent over to Wales during the week to make sure it doesn't happen again.
Sky bosses also want changes to Stuff's production for the 3 News Bulletin.
Yeah, so we've looked at the ratings for the 6 o'clock on the back of Simon Dallow's departure tonight. The ratings for TVNZ compared to 3 News, they used to be very, very close. TVNZ has extended its lead since News Hub's closed, so we looked at those ratings. I went to the Sky TV annual shareholders meeting last Friday, and a question from the floor from one of the shareholders was a very pointed question where Sophie Maloney, the Sky TV chief executive, was asked, now that they own 3 News and the 3 platforms, just what are you going to do about the 6 o'clock news? Are you looking at improvements? And she replied in the affirmative that there will be changes ahead of election year next year. I suspect what they will try and do is not replicate what TVNZ does, and I think they'll go for a much more sort of focused news bulletin with maybe more in-depth interviews. A little bit like what we're doing now, we're a lot more kind of live interaction at the desk, just to differentiate it slightly from what TVNZ's producing each night.
Okay, interesting stuff. Good to see you, Shane, as always. Thank you very much. Shane's column, of course, in the Herald today. You can see it at nzherald.co.nz and subscribe, 21 after 8. Next, we're in Santa's workshop as the team behind the Auckland Santa Parade get ready for the weekend. Our panel this morning, Sir Graham Lowe and Deborah Peed, talk us through the big stories of the morning. All ahead for your Friday.
It's important to find a team that you can trust.
We decided to build the GJs because they're good quality that they always provide us.
They've helped us throughout the whole process of getting the resource consent to the building consent, and their contracts are very easy to understand. We have built 4 houses with GJ Gardeners, and it's just easier every time we work with them.
I'll definitely recommend GJs to all of my friends and family.
If you're thinking of building, choose the builder you'll want to build with time and time again.
I became a Herald journalist to get at the truth.
I became a Herald journalist to share not only what's going on, but also what it means.
To help people make up their own minds about the issues that matter.
To give a voice to every New Zealander and to expose the issues affecting our communities.
To make sure that people that are in positions of power are held to account.
To enact change that will ultimately benefit all of society.
To take our readers closer to the action.
I became a Herald journalist to put the facts first. That's the reason we're here.
If it's news you can trust, it's news worth knowing. The New Zealand Herald.
You Do It delivers high-quality New Zealand-made flat-pack DIY kitchen cabinetry. With flexible widths at your fingertips, it makes designing easy. All at an affordable price because you order online and cut out the middleman. You can even upgrade your dream kitchen with You Do It stylish and clever options, like choosing wall cabinets with overhanging doors, or select from a range of pull-out storage solutions. Add premium soft-close drawers and ask to stretch the height, width or depth of your cabinets. Upgrade your kitchen today and head to newsroom.co.nz.
Term deposit rates are falling, but your returns shouldn't. Speak to a Foresight Bar investment advisor about alternative strategies, their benefits and risks, and how they can help you meet your investment goals. Foresight Bar, investment advice.
Welcome back. It is 23 minutes after 8. Sunday, Farmers Santa Parade, Auckland, Queen Street, 250,000 people watching. The parade has now been running for 92 years. And for more than 50 of those years, there's been one man behind the magic. Herald Now reporter Katie Oliver met the maker himself.
There's a hidden magic behind Auckland's iconic Farmers Christmas Parade, and that hidden magic is Peter Taylor.
I started off working at Farmers and worked in their department where they made the Santa floats, so it's been a lifelong full of Santa parades.
Taylor says this year's floats are a far cry from when he first started making them with only paper and glue.
I've been making floats for probably 50 years. I've been working on the parade for probably 52 years.
More than 5 decades, and he's never grown tired of it.
I love Christmas. I can be lying in bed puzzling over how to do something. 1 in the morning, oh yeah, look, I think I'll do that with the mushroom, I'll do this. And so you can sort of see it evolve in front of you. It's fun, I love it.
Pete spends hours designing and building these monumental creations, all by himself, mostly.
I have a friend, good old Ian, that'll come down and towards the pointy head, that'll do bits and pieces and help me out, but on the whole, I'm a bit of a loner. I sort of work by myself.
He's a tradie at heart with a passion for building memories.
It's fun, I love it.
And he's got one tip for all the children of Auckland before the parade.
Well, look, I'll tell you what, go to bed early for mum and dad, and not too much sugar, Coke or anything like that, a good diet, and you'll be fit and healthy and raring to go.
Today, the Farmers Santa Parade attracts over 250,000 people, and we're expecting 4,000 participants. Dancers, singers will light up and fill this float with Christmas cheer, and they're all going to be here for the same reason, to bring some Christmas magic to central Auckland.
Great story, Katie. She's not there. Where is she? She's going to a Black Friday sale. What, for herself, or is she? Oh, for the program. Are we going to her later? Apparently, if it's good, if there's enough people at the Black Friday sale, then we'll cross to Katie before 9 o'clock. Right, let's get to the big stories of the day. Deb Peed is here, Peed PR, and Sir Graham Lowe, former rugby league coach, rugby legend. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good to see you both. Now, I don't know if you caught this, Deborah, but we had Erica Stamford and Willow Jean Prime on earlier. So there's great numbers come out this week about education and this trial that they've done. But the unions and others are sort of pulling it down, saying, even questioning whether we should be doing this. What did you make of all of that?
Well, I found it very hard to watch that segment this morning because my temperature was rising and I felt like throwing something at the screen at one stage, because to me this is such a great news story. I mean, the results that they've achieved is not a rounding up error. I mean, they've had 12 weeks and shown 2 years of progress in that 12 weeks just by buckling down on the basics. And how a group of people can try and defend or criticise and be cynical about a system that's producing results like this is outrageous. They should be ashamed of themselves. To me, there's 2 things here. One is a group of people's perception about the trial, and the other is outcomes for children. Which one is more important? The outcomes for the kids. And hang your head in shame, these politicians trying to destroy this program or criticise it simply because it comes from the opposing party.
Lowy?
Well, outstanding results. They've done some sort of magic, and it may not be magic, but it's shown how poor things have been before.
Yes.
They've just shown everyone up. So, how can you possibly be critical of that? I think we should be celebrating.
Totally. And the funny thing about it is it's not magic. It's actually what we used to do. It's a focus on an hour a day on maths, you know? It's actually just basic stuff.
And we've seen how we've slipped down the scale on mathematics and literacy over the years with no one doing anything about it. And here Eric has come in and turned it around. We should be celebrating this. It's the biggest news story of the week.
Yep, agreed.
No, I couldn't agree more. I deal a little bit in that area at different times with stuff I do, and some of the results over the last few years. I mean, even attendancy, getting kids out of bed is a big problem. Getting these young kids out of bed, but to deliver good results like they have done in that short time, it is magical.
Yeah.
But it's basics.
Yeah.
It's basics.
Yeah. Hey, in Commonwealth Games, that we're sort of talking about maybe wanting to host it again. Loie, what do you reckon?
Well, I think it'd be fantastic for the athletes. You know, a lot of people put a lot of work all through their lives to try and get that just little moment, you know, maybe for 4 minutes or 3 minutes or some effort that they've done. But what concerns me are the costs. The costs are, you know, it's got to be weighed up. So I think it's a difficult question to, you know, for as many people who'd be for it to be the same against it. I think it's very difficult. And it's not, and as much as the athletes deserve the recognition and want to test themselves, in my understanding of it, it's not World Games. It's not the rest of the world, it's our Commonwealth.
No, exactly.
But if you look at where they have been held in Glasgow and Birmingham, they have shown strong economic impact to those cities. So there is a way to do it. I think if we're thinking about building purpose-built stadiums, we've lost the plot on it. We need to be fleet on it. It needs to evolve. I think Auckland could host it. I'd love a moonshot for our city. I think we could do it well. We'd find some use for these stadiums and facilities that we have, and let's evolve it into something that is fit for purpose and fit for its time, and not build white elephants to host it.
Yeah, I completely agree. You just got to, whatever resources you've got, facilities you've got, those are the things that you've got to use and make it work around them, eh? Now, finally, Black Friday. Loie, are you involved in you going to go out shopping today, buy anything special?
Actually, I bought some flowers yesterday for my wife.
Oh,
from the petrol station on the way home?
No, from my local cafe. But why is it called Black Friday?
I don't know. It's an American thing. Does anyone know? I don't know. It comes out. It's a day after Thanksgiving or the week after Thanksgiving. I don't know why particularly it's Black Friday though. No.
I think the retailers have put a lot more energy behind it this year, because to me, I started getting these emails in my inbox, very seductive as well, some of them, you know, right from the beginning of the month. So yeah, I think I might do a little bit of online shopping. I'm just certainly not into jostling and elbow shoving in stores. That's not my style.
No, absolutely not. Speaking of seductive, the fragrance you're wearing this morning, can you just remind remind us what it is?
It's Bulgari, and it's La Gemme.
La Gemme. I said, gosh, you smell good this morning, and apparently it's a male fragrance you're wearing.
Have a whiff of this. Have a whiff. Sunlight soap.
Thank you. You can keep that fragrance to yourself.
Sunlight soap, did you say, Lo? Hey, what's the T-shirt you got on today?
We'll talk. It's an education thing. Our program that we've got is we've got a literacy and numeracy education program, and it's based around my 12 principles from when I was coaching, and the results it delivers. That's not what I've come in here for today, and I've never worn my own logo before on TV. But the results it delivers are just fantastic, and I'd like to see these 12 principles going to 5-year-olds right through the country, because they're all about common sense. They can be pitched in a 5-year-old's language. But we do it, our programs are in a lot of the prisons around the country, but on Tuesday down in Palmerston North, we graduated 21 young kids, 21 young teenagers that had dropped through the systems after year 9, after year 7, some of them, they dropped through the systems by pitching it in a different way, using the language of sport. All of a sudden, everyone sat up on the edge, concentrated, focused, and graduated.
Brilliant.
Fantastic. Isn't that
It's very
great?
cool.
Hopefully Erica Stanford's still around, because she should hear this as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Brilliant.
She could get it for a couple of million too, easy.
Now we're talking.
Deborah Peed from Peed PR and Sir Graham Lowe, former rugby league coach and rugby legend. Thanks so much for being with me this morning, as always. Right, it is 28 minutes away from 9. Let's get to headlines with Neva.
Herald Now News.
Powered by News Talk ZB.
A push to get more bike lanes as the government eyes up moving e-scooters onto them from pathways. ACC statistics show there were more than 2,100 claims for e-scooter-related injuries in the first half of this year. Payouts for e-scooter injuries this year are close to surpassing 14 million. Cycling Action spokesperson Patrick Morgan told Ryan Bridge, e-scooters are here to stay, so councils need to build more bike lanes to meet demand. He says we don't need a bike lane on every street, just on main thoroughfares where people want to go. Questions remain over the cause of the deadly Hong Kong fire, which has killed at least 83 people. Another 250 remain missing after the blaze ripped through 7 of 8 tower blocks. Bamboo scaffolding and safety netting were encasing the buildings, which were undergoing renovation. The exact cause of the inferno has yet to be determined. 3 construction company executives have been arrested on suspicion of manslaughter. More than $1.2 million was spent on the government's curriculum roadshows, which many principals refused to attend. Education Minister Erica Stanford and international speakers led the 4 events, with $220,000 spent just on their fees, travel and accommodation. They aim to guide school leaders through major changes. The Reserve Bank is projecting house prices will start steadily recovering next year. However, it doesn't see prices returning to their 2021 peak anytime soon. Its forward projections have the Totality House Price Index increasing consistently from next year, but prices are only expected to be in line with incomes. By late 2028, house prices are still projected to be about 3% below the record high reached in late 2021. It's tools down again for more than 17,000 public health workers. Allied health staff, nurses, policy and advisory workers are just some of the Public Service Association members striking today for 4 hours from 1 p.m. Health NZ says plans are in place to ensure hospital and community health service delivery. And firefighters are striking again today for better work conditions and more resources to serve communities. Some 2,000 New Zealand Professional Firefighters Union members are walking off the job from midday to 1 p.m. Hope's families of the Mount Erebus disaster will find peace in a new memorial in Christchurch. The National Memorial will be built at Craycroft Reserve in Kashmir, overlooking the city and Southern Alps. It will honour the 257 people who died when an Air New Zealand flight crashed into Antarctica's Mount Erebus 46 years ago today.
Herald Now Sport, brought to you by Gold Sport.
Golfer Ryan Fox has a share of the clubhouse lead after carding a 4-under par 67 across an incomplete opening round at the Australian PGA Championship in Brisbane. Expect a larger scale Commonwealth Games if New Zealand hosts the 2034 edition. An expression of interest has been made to bring the event back for the first time since 1990. The International Judo Federation has reinstated full national representation rights to Russian athletes at competitions despite the war in Ukraine.
Herald Now Weather, brought to you by You Do It Kitchens.
Good morning. Last Friday of spring. Summer kicks off on Monday, but still feeling very summery today with more warm weather on the way and a little bit of rain thanks to a front moving onto the North Island. So just a couple of heavy rain watches remain in place this morning, but these will all expire by midday. There will still be showers for the South Island, but they are clearing. Westerlies developed this morning for Dunedin. That turns northeast by around lunchtime. Now this is looking good for the upper half of the South Island, with cloud clearing this morning and becoming fine. Winds will mostly be from the west or northwest, but turning more easterly later in the day. Not so dry here, with rain this morning, possible thunderstorms and downpours for Taranaki, Kapiti and Wellington, but clearing to be fine early this afternoon. Now that heat alert is still in place for Napier, very hot today. There will be rain spreading for everyone, heavy at times during the afternoon, maybe thundery for Hawke's Bay and Gisborne. And showers for the upper north too, especially this afternoon when the showers may be heavy and maybe thundery. Winds end up from the west or northwest.
23 to 9 on your Friday morning. Time for our rural update. Riley Kennedy, Business Desk, with us this morning. Riley, good morning.
Very good morning.
Welcome back. Now, last time we spoke, you said that Fonterra would, pull back their milk price, and they did it this week. And I see Synlait has done that as well.
Yeah. So it came as no surprise to anyone, apart from, it appears, Miles Herald, that they had to cut the milk price. So it's been quite fascinating to watch this play out over the past week. So last week Miles was in Singapore, he was on Bloomberg TV, and he was asked about it, and quite convincingly said, no, we're quite confident with $10. Did sort of say, we are watching it very closely, but no, we're going to stick with $10, which sort of, everyone here was like, oh, okay, cool. To be fair, he wasn't going to get on a plane. He wasn't going to say, I'm on a plane tonight, I'm going to go home and cut the milk price. And then on Tuesday, they revised the milk price down to $9.50. But Open Country, which is the second largest dairy processor, they collect about 13% of the milk in New Zealand. They reduced their weighted average milk price down to $9.70 about 3 weeks ago. They have quite an odd system. Well, it's odd to anyone else that doesn't really understand it, but they pay over 4 periods. So they paid $10.36 for the first period. But they have a really tight range, and then I don't know whether Fonterra looked at that and thought, well, we need to cut now. So they dropped to $9.50, which was quite a lot more than what I think everyone was expecting. I think everyone sort of expected they were going to go down to $9.70, but $9.50, maybe you cut once and cut right, maybe go back. But it's certainly not as bad as, okay, it's the first cut since 2023, but it's not all bad, is it?
No, it's been going north for a long time, so yeah.
And it's still well above the break-even milk price of $8.66 or something.
Right, so how, looking ahead, when supply's coming back on, how worried do we need to be about like next year, the year after, about that supply and about the break-even price? I think, I was looking at a few forecasts earlier this morning. I don't think it's going to drop dramatically. It's probably not going to go back to what it was. Like it might do, but I don't think it's going to go back there in the near term. But there's a lot of milk around in the world at the moment. As we're going to talk about shortly, Palmu, they've got the 7.5% up on their milk production. So everyone's just producing a lot more milk, and it's just going to weigh down on price. It's not like the demand's just falling out. Everyone's not drinking oat milk. It's just we've just got an oversupply of milk at the moment. Yeah. The world's just got to work through it. Which is what happens when the price goes up like that. Everyone's like, right, I'm getting in on that, the gold rush. Yeah, so maybe we should all just dial back our milk production for a bit. Yeah, do a little OPEC plus kind of vibe. Exactly. Now, let's talk about Palmu, because it's the thing that Landcorp, it's the government's farm that we all own, and there's lots of talk about whether we should sell it or not. They come out with some results or some projections which are actually quite good. Yeah, so it's obviously a constant debate about whether the government should own farms and should we be farming, but they've really turned around their operating performance. And to be fair, that's probably been helped by the fact that commodity prices have gone up. But they started the season at, they said they were going to have an operating profit of between 69 and 79 million. They upped that to between 80 and 90, and their long-term goal is by 2030 to get to 100 million operating profit. So that's been helped by the fact that milk production is 7.5% season to date in front of where they expected it to be, and also their livestock, the farm gate prices are just really strong, so they're benefiting from that. And also they're carrying a lot more dairy beef through the season now, so they're not killing as many bobby calves, they're carrying them through, so they've got a lot more stock around. Right. It's funny because, coming into an election where National wants to be talking about asset sales, and this was presumably going to be one of the ones they wanted to talk about, having them with a better balance sheet doesn't help that case, does it? Exactly, and they're before a set committee on Monday, so... Interesting. All right. Finally, tell us about this cheese roll tanker. Yeah, is there a photo of it? I think we have one. Yeah, look at it. Isn't it brilliant? So if you're in Southland in the next few weeks and you see that thundering past you, yes, you have just seen a cheese roll on wheels. No, it's not real. That's Open Country. They've decided to do this. I don't know why. Apparently they're looking at doing one on the North Island. They don't know what yet. But nothing says, welcome to the Waikato, than a block of butter down the Cambridge Expressway. They've just opened a butter plant at one of their Waikato sites, so maybe they should. It looks delicious, doesn't it? It does, actually. I might go and have a cheese roll. Go and have a cheese roll just for the sake of it. Riley, thank you very much for that this morning. Good to see you as always. Riley Kennedy, Business Desk. It is 18 away from 9. Next, the new season of the TV show Spartacus is about to launch, and one of the stars, Geordie Webber, joins me at the desk. He's a real triple threat, we'll tell you why. And then Garth is in with business, thanks to our partners, 2 Degrees.
Landed south of the equator, ready for some warm family memories.
This rebel is great for holiday gatherings. Care for an iced? Or hot?
Holiday is, bro.
Nobody has supreme knowledge of Christmas gifting like Noel Leeming.
Ah, here she is. How's the business going?
Good, actually. We just switched to 2 degrees. Well, we tested the networks and couldn't see any difference, but 2 degrees has the most satisfied customers. With Flex, we get instant control of phone plans, data usage, and cost centre reporting. And they're the fastest growing business network.
Can have what she's having.
Sing your heart out to Coast's feel-good 80s hits. Kenny Loggins, Whitney, John Farnham, Eurythmics, Bonnie Tyler, Eric Carmen. The most 80s are on Coast. Sing your heart out. Coast.
In 1985, my grandfather set out to make the world a better tea. That's why we grow our own, unlike other tea companies. Then pick the best leaves by hand, not machine, and pack it right here in Sri Lanka. But it's not just the taste that makes our tea better. 15% of our profit goes to humanity and to the elephants. As my grandfather said,
do try it.
Welcome back. It is 16 minutes away from 9 o'clock. If you like sex, sandals and sword fights, I know it's a bit of an odd combination, listen up. A new series of the hit TV show Spartacus is about to drop. It's Spartacus House of Asher, filmed entirely in New Zealand, in Wedi in South Auckland. It's peak, employing 500 people full-time. Take a look.
The deafening roar of the ground and the bitter sting of blood in the air.
One day you may recount grand tales of glory.
These are the hands that saw Spartacus to deserve it in.
You find yourself elevated from slave to dominance of your own house.
Now joining me this morning is one of the stars. Kiwi Geordie Webber is at the desk. Good morning, Geordie.
Morena.
So, I mean, it looks very cool. What was it like to act in?
I mean, fake tan, sand, lots of sand, but it was a dream, man. It was a dream. I've been dreaming of swinging swords and stuff like that since I was a boy. So, dream come true.
Amazing opportunity.
Yeah.
Tell us about the show for people who haven't seen it. What's it about?
It's kind of an offcut. If anyone's seen the old Spartacus TV shows, it's a what-if version of that. So there's a character named Asher on the previous seasons who was kind of the villain of the old shows, but the audience loved him. He was very strategical, he was very smart, and this is kind of a spin-off of him if he lived and if he had his own school of gladiators. So that kind of gave us a chance to explore a whole new batch, per se, because in the old Spartacus, all the gladiators kind of rogue. They went off and they rebelled and they went out into the world. So this is kind of exploring a whole new world back in the arenas and stuff like that. Yeah.
So this is like a dream role for you?
Heck yeah. Yeah.
What was it like to get the call to get it?
You know what? It was, I don't know what to think of it. I did my audition. I did my one self-tape, and then usually when you're auditioning for something big, you're doing multiple levels of it. You do a tape, you do another tape, you do a meeting, and then maybe another tape. But I did my first tape, and then I got a message to say, hey, the director wants to have a meeting with you, and I was just like, oh, okay, that's kind of, I don't know what to think of that. And then I had the Zoom call with them, and the guys were basically like, you're the guy. And I was just like, am I? Am I the guy? And I was the guy, but it took a few weeks for that to kind of process, and then, flew home to New Zealand and started filming.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Now, it's quite a physically demanding role, and you are doing all of your own stunts, is that right?
I am.
Is that your decision?
Well, they also asked me, it's a physical film, a physical show, and the requirement is a big one. You know, we're basically training for 8 hours to 9 hours a day. But I've done a lot of stunts in the past. I've worked in stunts as a performer, and I love moving, and I love moving my body and playing with swords. And again, I feel like I've been training that since I was a boy. So I was like, yeah, heck yeah, if I can do my own fights and wires, I'm in. I'm game.
Do you get, how serious does it get? Like, do you get injured in doing that kind of stuff?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah. Hard out. Yeah, your hand gets smacked all the time. Like, man, we're hitting swords. We're fighting each other.
Are they real swords?
Nah, they're wooden swords. They're wooden swords. But you do cop a couple.
Do you?
Yeah.
And so what is in terms of this genre, because I know that that's very, very popular, you know, a lot of people watch this this type of film or TV show. What do you think it is that appeals to people?
I think that it doesn't hold any punches. You know, like a lot of the TV that we see right now, it holds back a lot. It's trying to cater to so many different people, you know, and people's opinions, whereas this is it's so in your face, it's so raw. It's quite authentic to, you know, what that old world would have been. Our bodies are just bodies, and death is so on everyone's doorstep that this doesn't shy away from that. So I think in terms of how it sits in the market and everything that's out there today, it's just I think it's quite refreshing. Yeah.
Speaking of bodies, there are a lot of them on show during this series. And it's quite, well, the old ones were quite sexy as well. Is this the same?
Oh yeah. I won't. You'll have to watch it.
Have your parents seen it?
They have. They watch the old ones and they know what they're in for. So I just won't watch it with them.
No, good call. Hey, you're also a musician. Tell us about that.
Oh man, started in Titanium back in 2012.
Did you?
Yeah, a long time ago. Started there with the boys and got thrown into a whole world of music and touring and all the things. Found a love for music. And then I've been releasing music under my own act, Wiser and the Vibes, for 10 years. And yeah, it's just another love of mine. It's another form of storytelling.
So you said that you came home to do this. Where are you living now?
Based between Australia and New Zealand, mainly for work. I work work in film in Sydney a lot, based on the Sunshine Coast, and then I just kind of bounce back and forth between here and there.
There's a lot. I've got friends who are in the industry, sort of in you know the production side of it. It's been pretty quiet in New Zealand lately. It's been pretty dire for a lot of them. Is it much more healthy on the other side of the Tasman, or what's the situation like?
Ebbs and flows. Ebbs and flows, you know. Sometimes it's busy there, sometimes it's busy here. And it's kind of like the lottery, hey? Like sometimes luck's on your side. And otherwise, like most Kiwi actors out there, we've just got to knuckle down and do something else, you know, while we're waiting or in between those film jobs. So I guess for me, right now, I'm really trying to move into writing and directing while I'm not acting and in between. Yeah, but it's a constant dance, man. Yeah.
Where can we watch this?
Free now.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. Geordie, thank you so much for coming in this morning. Lovely to meet you.
Welcome, brother. Thank you.
Thank you. That is one of the stars of Geordie Webber, one of the stars of Spartacus, House of Asher. And as he says, you can see it on 3 Now from Saturday, December 6th. Time now to talk business with our partners 2 Degrees. We had lots of numbers out yesterday. Retail trade data from retail trade data as well as ANZ's business confidence survey. And all the signs say the economy is starting finally to look good. Earlier, I was joined by Garth Bray from Business Desk. Started off by asking for his take on the numbers.
You look pretty today. You look real pretty. Actually, it's 3 months back. It's the September quarter, right? So this is looking backwards. But that's got to be a good sign for the quarter that we're in and Black Friday and all the stuff that's happening in retail now. So you had a 1.9% quarterly growth from the previous quarter, and 4.5%, it was actually 5%, but they knocked it back to 4.5% for inflation adjustments growth year on year, which is way above what everybody was thinking. They were picking about a 0.5 to 0.6, not a 1.9. So, woohoo, big surprise on the upside. Probably just put the complete tin lid on any chances of another OCR upgrade on the basis of that, you'd say. But yeah, some strong increases in individual components, like a 9.8% surge in electrical and electronic goods. Quite a lot of cars as well, about 7% gain in vehicles. It's a time of the year maybe where there's government contracts rolling off and some rollout deals and that kind of thing. So you'd see a bit of a lumpy pickup there.
So it's good, Garth.
On the whole, good. And some good confidence numbers too.
Yes, and the confidence numbers I like. So this is the ANZ's business outlook.
Yeah.
Surveys to businesses,
Yeah.
what are you thinking?
Yeah.
And yes, their confidence is up, but their own activity, like that, so it's not just like hopes and feels and dreams, it's actually what they have sold gives them confidence as
Highest
well.
read since August 2021.
Great.
And those other numbers were the best in about a decade. So
Great.
everybody is suddenly feeling like spring is here, summer's coming, get on it.
Great. Good, Garth. Now, what else are we doing this morning?
Well, look, just as well, things are looking up because we're going to need a whole lot of money to fix our Defence Force bases. We heard a little bit about that this week. What we didn't quite hear is the real number, which our Thomas Manch, our new infrastructure hire, has just picked out there. $15.4 billion over the next 15 years is apparently what they're talking about. Cabinet had a look at that, the Cabinet papers. That's the figure they've identified they'll need to find over that time. They talked about, I think, $2.5 billion.
Yeah, they did. We had Chris Pink on yesterday. So is that wrong?
Well, that's what they've allocated and said they will spend, but what they know in the background they're going to have to find to actually do everything is more like 15.4.
But they're not doing that. They're just doing the 2.5.
Piece by piece by piece, and $4 billion for Devonport Naval Base over the next 35 years and so on. But this is basically to fix decades and decades of underspending there. But interesting.
It's a bit of a dump, some of those spaces.
I mean, someone's going to have to build it. It's going to be jobs. It's going to be money spent,
True.
And the world's probably not getting any less hectic.
Yeah, good way of putting it. Now, who is our fastest growing company?
That would be, if you guess tracksuit, you would be right. And if you say, what is tracksuit, I can explain.
Yeah, no, it's a cool company. Tell everyone about it.
If you're a business that's trying to grow bigger and you want to track what the brands are doing around the world, you think you might be launching a set of sneakers or whatever, or you want to see what someone else's brand is doing, your own brand is doing. Traditionally, this is expensive. It costs hundreds of thousands of dollars to do really well. These guys have come in with a way to do it at about a tenth of the cost, and with a lot of flexibility, and everyone loves it. Disney's hired them. I think Goodman Fielder have hired them. They're getting lots and lots of traction. I think they had so their revenue growth over the last 3 years, they've only been around for about 4, 627%, which means that they are the Deloitte Fast 50 fastest growing company.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's a very cool idea.
It's a cool idea.
Very cool company and some very big growth. That was Garth Bray from Business Desk, thanks to our partners 2 Degrees earlier in the show. Right, it's Black Friday and we've sent Katie out to find a bargain. Katie, what have you found?
Yeah, good morning, Ryan. Look, I'm here at the calm before the storm, to be quite honest with you. We're at Noel Leeming Westgate, and this customer, Rachel, has already made the most of it. Rach, what have you bought?
I'm just about to buy a MacBook Air and a NutriBullet and a UE Boom.
Now, I'm very interested I've seen 2 NutriBullets already go out the door at this time, and I'm also very keen on the Ninja Slushie. I feel like you've already got a slushie, hey?
No, I've got the creamy.
Oh, the creamy.
But I know somebody that's got one.
She knows somebody who's got one. Yeah, so look, calm before the storm. Last year they had 70,000 people through the door across the Noel Leeming stores nationally, and I think they're expecting possibly more than that this year, Ryan. But yeah, we're down here. It's starting to fill up slowly, but be interesting to see what happens. Were you planning on getting some Christmas shopping done there, Rach?
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
What are you going to get?
Well, the UE Boom's for my daughter, and the NutriBullet's also probably going to be a present as well. And yeah.
Does your daughter know that she's getting a UE Boom?
No, I hope she's not watching.
Oh, well, there you go. You're getting a UE Boom for Christmas.
Oh.
Merry Christmas.
Hey, Katie, most importantly, what's the price? How much is Rach getting off the UE Boom and the NutriBullet and the MacBook or whatever it was?
Yeah, so how much are you getting off the UE Boom, do you know?
About $100.
Oh, wow.
Pretty good. That's pretty good. Not bad.
So
I'd like a UE Boom for $100.
Yeah.
So what would it normally cost, and then what's the regular price and taking $100 off?
Gosh, what is the regular price for a UE Boom? Do you know? God, I don't know.
Well, there's a lot of different types.
There's a lot of different types. There's a lot of different types, Ryan.
Let's just go for the average sort of range, you know?
Yeah, very true. Hey, you can get an air fryer for $89, which I think I'm going to cop. And I kind of want to get a slushy maker for the office, make some Christmas margaritas. Why not?
Yeah, totally. So how much is off the slushy maker, Katie?
Look, how much is it? It's $269, and apparently, now this is a marketing rule that I actually just found out this morning, they can't say what the original price was because it changes constantly. So we actually don't know how much is off it, but $2.69 for a slushie is pretty dang good.
Paul reckons, so Paul's in my ear, he reckons that normally the slushie maker would be double that. So that's I mean, that's a good deal. Yeah, that's a good deal.
Yeah.
Slushie maker.
Half price, there you go.
All right, well, you can pick that
nice.
up on the work credit card, Katie.
Yes, please.
Yeah, we'll see you soon. And thank Rachel for us as
Cheers.
well. All right, have a good
Thanks,
day.
Rachel.
Hooroo. Hooroo. See you later. So, yeah, there you go. There's some good bargains out there to be had today. Get out there and shop. It is 2 minutes away from 9 o'clock now. The government is considering moving e-scooters into cycle lanes. ACC statistics show there were more than 2,100 claims for e-scooter related injuries in the first half of this year, and payouts for e-scooter injuries are close to $14 million. Now, personally, I mean, I don't use the cycle lane, so I'm not particularly concerned whether the e-scooter, you know, your Lime scooters go in the cycle lanes or not. But I know that the cyclists are pretty open to it, the e-scooter people are open to it, so to me it's sort of a no-brainer that you let them all use the same lanes. A couple of things I wanted to get across to you this morning before we get to our news, which is coming up in just a minute's time. In DC, we had this shooting, you would have seen it, the two National Guard members of the National Guard who were shot. They are both still in critical condition in hospital. Donald Trump has called this an act of terrorism. The guy that they have accused of this shooting is a guy that came from Afghanistan and worked with the CIA. So this person, this individual, had worked with the US government previously in Kandahar and was, after the withdrawal from Afghanistan, he went to the United States. That was back in 2021. So just an interesting tidbit, as the president calls this an act of terrorism. They're looking into those links, by the way. The other thing I wanted to mention is about productivity. We spoke about this earlier in the program. New Zealand its economy has a problem with productivity. We're not very good at improving it. In fact, it has been flatlining or even more recently falling. It's a bad thing because it means that we are making less stuff with the same amount of people. What you want to be doing is making more stuff with the same people, or fewer would be even better. There is an exception to this, and it is cows. So dairy cow productivity has been increasing. Dairy farmers are achieving more with fewer cows, and you can tell by the record milk production that we have seen. So the average cow is producing 414 kilograms of milk solids. That is up 14 kilograms from last season. And you might think, well, how are they doing that? I mean, it's not like much is changing with the cows. Well, it's science, it's technology, it's improving the feed, it's efficiency. And that's what we're doing with our dairy cows is what we need to do with our economy, basically. It is 9 o'clock now. Let's get to headlines with Neva.
Herald NOW News, powered by News Talk ZB.
A push to get more bike lanes as the government eyes up moving e-scooters onto them from pathways. ACC statistics show there were more than 2,100 claims for e-scooter related injuries in the first half of this year. Payouts for e-scooter injuries this year are close to surpassing 14 million. Cycling Action spokesperson Patrick Morgan told Ryan Bridge, e-scooters are here to stay, so councils need to build more bike lanes to meet demand. He says we don't need a bike lane on every street, just on main thoroughfares where people want to go. Questions remain over the cause of the deadly Hong Kong fire, which has killed at least 83 people. Another 250 remain missing after the blaze ripped through 7 of 8 tower blocks. Bamboo scaffolding and safety netting were encasing the buildings, which were undergoing renovation. The exact cause of the inferno has yet to be determined. 3 construction company executives have been arrested on suspicion of manslaughter. More than $1.2 million was spent on the government's curriculum roadshows, which many principals refused to attend. Education Minister Erica Stanford and international speakers led the 4 events, with $220,000 spent just on their fees, travel and accommodation. They aim to guide school leaders through major changes. The Reserve Bank is projecting house prices will start steadily recovering next year. However, it doesn't see prices returning to their 2021 peak anytime soon. Its forward projections have the Cotality House Price Index increasing consistently from next year, but prices are only expected to be in line with incomes. By late 2028, House prices are still projected to be about 3% below the record high reached in late 2021. It's tools down again for more than 17,000 public health workers. Allied health staff, nurses, policy and advisory workers are just some of the Public Service Association members striking today for 4 hours from 1 p.m. Health NZ says plans are in place to ensure hospital and community health service delivery. And firefighters are striking again today for better work conditions and more resources to serve communities. Some 2,000 New Zealand Professional Firefighters Union members are walking off the job from midday to 1 p.m. Hope's families of the Mount Erebus disaster will find peace in a new memorial in Christchurch. The National Memorial will be built at Craycroft Reserve in Kashmir, overlooking the city and Southern Alps. It will honour the 257 people who died when an Air New Zealand flight crashed into Antarctica's Mount Erebus 46 years ago today.
Herald Now Sport, brought to you by Gold Sport.
Golfer Ryan Fox has a share of the clubhouse lead after carding a 4-under par 67 across an incomplete opening round at the Australian PGA Championship in Brisbane. Expect a larger scale Commonwealth Games if New Zealand hosts the 2034 edition. An expression of interest has been made to bring the event back for the first time since 1990. The International Judo Federation has reinstated full national representation rights to Russian athletes at competitions despite the war in Ukraine.
Herald Now Weather, brought to you by You Do It Kitchens.
Good morning. Last Friday of spring. Summer kicks off on Monday, but still feeling very summery today with more warm weather on the way and a little bit of rain thanks to a front moving onto the North Island. So just a couple of heavy rain watches remain in place this morning, but these will all expire by midday. There will still be showers for the South Island, but they are clearing. Westerlies developed this morning for Dunedin. That turns northeast by around lunchtime. Now this is looking good for the upper half of the South Island, with cloud clearing this morning and becoming fine. Winds will mostly be from the west or northwest, but turning more easterly later in the day. Not so dry here, with rain this morning, possible thunderstorms and downpours for Taranaki, Kapiti and Wellington, but clearing to be fine early this afternoon. Now that heat alert is still in place for Napier, very hot today. There will be rain spreading for everyone, heavy at times during the afternoon, maybe thundery for Hawke's Bay and Gisborne. And showers for the upper north too, especially this afternoon when the showers may be heavy and maybe thundery. Winds end up from the west or northwest.
For your Friday morning. Thanks so much for watching again. We'll do it all again Monday from 7 o'clock. For more news in the meantime, head to nzherald.co.nz. I'm Ryan Bridge. Have a nice weekend.